Okay, Life of Pi, an analysis of the other characters which you will encounter as you read the novel. The author, the narrator of the fictitious author's note, who inserts himself into the narrative at several points throughout the text. Though the author who pens the author's note never identifies himself by name, there are many clues that indicate it is Jan Martel himself, thinly disguised. He lives in Canada, has published 2 books, and was inspired to write Pi's life story during a trip to India. Francis Adirubasamy, the elderly man who tells the author Pi's story during a chance meeting in the Pondicherry coffee shop. He taught Pi to swim as a child and bestowed upon him his unusual moniker. He arranges for the author to meet Pi in person, so as to get a first-hand account of his strange and compelling tale. Pi calls him Mamaji, an Indian term that means respected uncle. Ravi, Pi's older brother. Ravi prefers sports to schoolwork and is quite popular. He teases his younger brother mercilessly over his devotion to 3 religions. Santosh Patel, Pi's father. He once owned a Madras hotel, but because of his deep interest in animals, decided to run the Pondicherry Zoo. A warrior by nature, he teaches his son not only to care for and control wild animals, but to fear them. Though raised a Hindu, he is not religious and is puzzled by Pi's adoption of numerous religions. The difficult conditions in India lead him to move his family to Canada. Geeta Patel, Pi's beloved mother and protector. A book lover, she encourages Pi to read widely. Raised Hindu with a Baptist education, she does not subscribe to any religion and questions Pi's religious declarations. She speaks her mind, letting her husband know when she disagrees with his parenting techniques. When Pi relates another version of his story to his rescuers, she takes the place of orange juice on the lifeboat. Satish Kumar, Pi's atheistic biology teacher at Petit Seminaire, a secondary school in Pondicherry. A polio survivor, he is an odd-looking man with a body shaped like a triangle. His devotion to the power of scientific inquiry and explanation inspires Pi to study zoology in college. Father Martin, the Catholic priest who introduces Pi to Christianity after Pi wanders into his church. He preaches a message of love. He, the Muslim Mr. Kumar, and the Hindu Pundit disagree about whose religion Pi should practice. The second, Satish Kumar, a plain-featured Muslim mystic with the same name as Pi's biology teacher. He works in a bakery. Like the other Mr. Kumar, this one has a strong effect on Pi's academic plans. His faith leads Pi to study religion at college. The Hindu Pundit, one of 3 important religious figures in the novel. Never given a name, he is outraged when Pi, who was raised Hindu, begins practicing other religions. He and the other 2 religious leaders are quieted somewhat by Pi's declaration that he just wants to love God. Meena Patel, Pi's wife, whom the author meets briefly in Toronto. Nikhil Patel, known as Nick, Pi's son. He plays baseball. Usha Patel, Pi's young daughter. She is shy but very close to her father. The hyena, an ugly, intensely violent animal. He controls the lifeboat before Richard Parker emerges. The zebra, a beautiful male Grant zebra. He breaks his leg jumping into the lifeboat. The hyena torments him and eats him alive. Orange juice, the maternal orangutan that floats to the lifeboat on a raft of bananas. She suffers almost human-like bouts of loneliness and seasickness. When the hyena attacks her, she fights back valiantly, but is nonetheless killed and decapitated. The blind Frenchman, a fellow castaway whom Pi meets by chance in the middle of the ocean. Driven by hunger and desperation, he tries to kill and cannibalize Pi, but Richard Parker kills him first. Tomohiro Okamoto, an official from the Maritime Department of the Japanese Ministry of Transport, who is investigating the sinking of the Japanese Tsimtsum. Along with his assistant, Atsuro Chiba, Okamoto interviews Pi for 3 hours and is highly skeptical of his first account. Atsuro Chiba, Okamoto's assistant. Chiba is the more naive and trusting of the two Japanese officials, and his inexperience at conducting interviews gets on his superior's nerves. Chiba agrees with Pi that the version of his ordeal with animals is the better than the one with the people. The cook, the human counterpart to the hyena in Pi's second story. He is rude and violent and hoards food on the lifeboat. After he kills the sailor and Pi's mother, Pi stabs him and he dies. The sailor, the human counterpart to the zebra in Pi's second story. He is young, beautiful, and exotic. He speaks only Chinese and is very sad and lonely in the lifeboat. He broke his leg jumping off the ship and it becomes infected. The cook cuts off the leg and the sailor dies slowly.